everything prepared. Strictly and it was me behind. Move on. Bro, it's not my fault. Yeah, you go to go. Yeah. Just in time, man. Just in time.
to commemorate the party's 70th anniversary. Today, we mark a significant milestone in our rich history of our party, a journey that spans 7 decades of dedication, reliance, and unwavering commitment to the Guyanese people. As we gathered here today, under the theme PNCR United and Strong, celebrating 70 years of vision and reliance, we pay tribute to the pioneering spirit of our founding fathers, particularly our founder leader, Comrade Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, OASC, who envisioned a better future for this nation. Indeed, his and their collective legacy and contribution have been carried forward by the other PNCR leaders. Permit me to single out our current leader and next president, whose visionary leadership continued to steer this great party towards creating a just, inclusive, and prosperous society for all. Comrade Leader, your guidance have been instrumental in shaping our party's vision, and we're deeply grateful for your selflessness, courage, and unwavering commitment to the values of our party. Indeed, sir, your leadership has inspired us to work towards a Guyana where every citizen will be provided access to opportunities to strive, live, and work, ensuring their success and the collective success of our nation. Today, as we celebrate this milestone, we also acknowledge the work and dedication of our members who contributed to the growth and development of our party over the years. Their tireless service have enabled us to build a strong foundation which will serve as the bedrock for our future successes. As we move forward, we are focused on the next critical chapter of our nation's history. That is the upcoming regional and general elections in this year, 2025. We believe that with you, Comrade Leader, with your astute leadership and guidance, coupled with the unwavering support from our party members and supporters, we will win those elections. And we will once again hold the reins of government and will build on the gains we made and work towards building a just, inclusive, and prosperous society for all Guyanese. To the members here and those viewing via the World Wide Web, I urge you to continue working with us to build a stronger party that reflects the hopes, dreams, and aspiration of the Guyanese people. Together, we can achieve greatness, and I encourage each one of us to get involved, to participate, and contribute to our shared vision, and that is winning the impending elections. Let us seize this momentous occasion to reaffirm our commitment to the values of our party, which are rooted in unity, solidarity, and a deep love for nation. Let us come together with a renewed energy and purpose to work towards building a just, inclusive, and prosperous society for all Guyanese. In short, I welcome you to the 70th anniversary celebration of our party. I urge you to enjoy the celebration of unity, strength, vision, and reliance. I wish you, the members of this great party, a wonderful celebration. Long live the People's National Congress Reform, and long live you, the members of the People's National Congress Reform, and long live our party leader, Comrade Aubrey Compton Norton. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask that we stand as we sing the party's battle song. I don't know if I have any volunteers to lead. All right. 1, 2, 3. Out of ages of oppression, independent now and stand, newly born again, victorious, reigning masters of our land. On the peak of Mount Uriah, our leader rising sun. From the mark of Pontius Pilate to where peace and glory sun. All were given liberty by the mighty PNC. Hold the line of battle, comrade, link our tribes in unity. Organize and charge the forces of the haughty enemy. Truth shall be our martial weapon, brotherhood our armor plate. Guyanese, Bermuda, will cherish foreign lots of racial hate. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Sons of many lands and daughters of the continent of earth, PNC lifts up our banner of our precious human worth. All who labor are our comrades, all who suffer, kids and kin. Go to mountain, field, and factory, go our brothers, bring them in. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Black and green with red and palm tree, freely flies our freedom flag. Rouse the lazy and the sluggard that would let it droop and drag. Rally from the coast and borders, field and office factory. Brothers, sisters, friends, and commerce, rally to the PNC. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Scared with our labor, brother, honorable in our toil. In the factory, in the office, in riches on the soil. Honorable is our warfare, crush the monster poverty. On an economic freedom, a great economy. From our field and office factory, rally to the PNC. You may have your seat. At this time, it is my pleasure to welcome a man who has been with us through thick and thin, good and bad times, a man of vision, resilience, with a heart for a great party and beautiful nation. Help me welcome the next president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton, Member of Parliament, leader of the People's National Congress Reform and Parliamentary Opposition.
Good morning, please be seated. Madam Chairperson, Vice Chairs, Vince Roy Jordan, Elizabeth William Niles, Treasurer Elson Lowe, other members of the Central Executive, His Worship the Mayor, party comrades, friends and supporters. Permit me at the outset to thank you for being here. Anyone who doesn't understand his or her history will definitely have problems. I do believe a party whose history is not placed into perspective will have difficulty understanding where they're from, where they are, and where they want to go. Guyana was a colony of the British. At the time, particularly after World War II, many Guyanese traveled overseas to get an education, and they were influenced by what was happening in the world. Two key persons in that bunch was our founder leader, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, and Cheddi Jagan. On returning to Guyana, they all felt the need for Guyana to be independent. First, there was the Political Affairs Committee, which involved many of the leaders of that era. And that committee began to work on a platform to move forward and to take Guyana to independence. And then the People's Progressive Party emerged, with Burnham and Jagan being the two key persons again. That political party emerged in 1950, to be precise, if I recall, the 1st of January. That political party became what is described by many writers as the first mass-based political party in the history of Guyana, since it mobilized a wide cross-section of Guyanese. That political party went to elections in 1953, won those elections. Having won those elections, they formed the government. Cheddi Jagan as premier, Burnham as education minister, and many others were involved. At the time, it is important to understand the world then. After World War II, the United States and the British, but more so the United States at the time, became very concerned that communism was rising in the world. In fact, in 1946-47, the US operated based on what was called the Truman Doctrine. And the essence of the Truman Doctrine was that no communist society should emerge in this hemisphere. We must recall that already the Soviet Union had become a communist or socialist country in 1917, Mongolia in 1921, and after the World War II, China and a number of others became. As a result, you had two major countries in the world battling against each other: the USSR and the United States of America. The United States of America was sanguine that communism should not spread. The Soviet Union at the time wanted communism to spread across the world. And so a conflict emerged. That conflict has been described as the Cold War, where, in essence, the two political, economic, and social systems clashed. Though it is called a Cold War because it wasn't a physical war. But may I say, history has shown that there were many physical wars as a result of the Cold War. But the key element of that Cold War era was the clash of these two systems and the fight for dominance. The USSR wanting communism to dominate, the United States wanting capitalism and Western liberal democracy to dominate. Guyanese leadership at the time was caught in this fight between East and West. I said to you that the PPP won the 53 elections, and the British and Americans were unhappy because for them, Dr. Jagan had described himself as a communist. They were all part of the People's Progressive Party. And like I said to you, through the Truman Doctrine, they were bitterly opposed to any country becoming communist in this Western Hemisphere. As a consequence, a big debate started in the society. And that debate centered on where does Guyana go in terms of political systems. Dr. Jagan at the time made it very clear that he was close to the Soviet Union and he was pro-Soviet. Of course, that meant an automatic clash with the United States and the European nations. On the other hand, Burnham felt that the first task was to gain political independence. And he was very sanguine, convinced in his mind that he should not be caught in the battle between East and West. And that became one of the cardinal elements of what will eventually become the People's National Congress. That we should navigate this world in a way that we were not caught in the Cold War. Very difficult task. To use Burnham's words, we will be pawns of neither East nor West. And amidst that battle and confusion, the government came to power in 1953, and in 133 days, the British suspended the Guyana Constitution, alleging that the PPP at the time was communist. In fact, many of the leaders in the movement at the time were in prison. Burnham wasn't. Now, it is in that environment in 1955, after the 133 days in government, we ended up in a situation where the political party had to discuss the way forward. In the situation, a Congress of the PPP was held on the 12th of February and the 13th of February, 1955. Burnham had already declared that he was not communist, he was socialist. Dr. Jagan had declared he was pro-Soviet and communist. Burnham believed his approach was more pragmatic. Chetty believed his approach was more sincere. In fact, Burnham encapsulated what he meant when he said, "It is better to survive sensibly in this world than to quote heroic death." And if one looks at that, one sees that he felt an immediate challenge to the United States while you were a colony would have been a difficult thing. At the conference, there was a fight for leadership. Clearly, Dr. Jagan believed he was the most suitable person to lead the party, and Burnham felt that under Dr. Jagan, the party was going in the wrong direction, and he had his own vision for Guyana. That conference occurred. The first day, the literature will tell you that there were a lot of discussions on the situation. And on the second day, the elections were held and Burnham became leader. Dr. Jagan and his team walked out. And from that day, you had what became known as the PPP Jaganite and the PPP Burnhamite. There are some who tend to argue that we cannot start the party history there. But there is where the party's history began as a party. And for those who will doubt that it was a party, if they go to the records, they will see that there were at least 2 all-party conferences attempting to bridge the gap between the PPP Burnhamite, the PPP Jaganite. Also, the British at the time wanted a united force against Jagan because they saw him as communist. Burnham opted not to be, they attended the conference, but he didn't become part of the so-called alliance against Dr. Jagan. He ventured out and started to build the PPP Burnhamite party. In the circumstance of not resolving the conflict between the two, the 1957 elections were called. In those elections, the PPP, as we know it now under Dr. Jagan, participated as the PPP Jaganites. And the other contesting party outside of the other small parties and independents was the PPP Burnhamite. And so it is a well-established fact that before 57 October, we had emerged as a political party, participated in all parties conferences, and then contested the 1957 elections as the PPP Burnhamite. And so it should be made very clear that the origin of the People's National Congress is in the split of the PPP into two, and the Burnham-led faction emerged as a political party, contested the elections. It is argued by most writers, and Burnham himself told us, that at the polls in 1957, there was confusion because you had PPP-B and PPP-J. And as a result, in October of 1957, the name changed from PPP-B to the People's National Congress. And so the party took the name the People's National Congress. You're well aware that after that, the name was changed to the People's National Congress Reform. And so today we are assembled because 70 years ago today, one section of the PPP separated from another section that became the PPP Burnhamite and began to do its political work. An office was established and the work began. And for us, therefore, our party's origin is in the split of the People's Progressive Party in 1955. Burnham outlined his vision for Guyana, developed a clear political platform, and campaigned assiduously. Lost the 61 election, which was the next one. And then in 1964, we had an election in which Burnham came to power in a coalition with the UF. The purpose here this morning really is to put in perspective the environment in which we emerged as a party and the context. And so the party, I believe, and as leader, I can promise you this, we will take a resolution to the next General Council to reaffirm the birth of our party and to put into perspective the various changes that would have occurred so that we will all be united in one position as to the origin and development of our party. I believe as a party, we have come a long way. As a party, we have shown that we are a resilient political party. former Prime Minister and Mayor Comrade Hamilton Green will elaborate on this afternoon at the symposium. I should say to you that I spoke with Comrade Green on this issue, and then not this Saturday, this Saturday, I went to the Kendron to visit the only founder member outside of Hamilton Green alive, Mr. McKen. And we did a group. He did agree and pointed out that the sequence of events is as just been said. He's 99. I'm hoping his birthday is in May, I think. And I'm hoping to be there for his 100th birthday. But he still remembers vividly those events and was able to tell us that reality. I do believe that when he arrives at that 100, the party should play a critical role because it is one of two of our living founder members. Since there will be a symposium in which there'll be questions and answers, I really don't want to be between you and the breakfast. We have agreed this morning that there would be a flag raising and then a breakfast which we all will participate in. And so let me say thanks for listening. Let me say to you, you are members of a great party. Let me say to you that I do believe that this party, in collaboration with others, are well placed to win the next general and regional elections. And we must all commit to working assiduously to ensure that victory. I do genuinely believe that if Guyana is to grow, the PPP must grow. And so, once again, thank you. And we will continue the day with our breakfast, and then this afternoon with a symposium which all of you are invited to, and where we can have an exchange with a panel on the history of our great party, the People's National Congress Reform. Thank you.
Thank you. You can remain standing. We will sing the national song, "O Beautiful Guyana," and after that, we will partake in this morning's breakfast.